kept this from me for 7 years. He is my son.
Nathan Pierce gripped the leather steering wheel of his Mercedes as he weaved through Boston traffic, his heart hammering against his ribs. The call had come during his presentation to the City Planning Commission. Victoria had collapsed at her charity luncheon. Internal bleeding. Emergency surgery. Those words kept echoing in his mind as he pressed harder on the accelerator. Boston Memorial Hospital loomed ahead, its glass facade reflecting the late afternoon sun. Nathan abandoned his car with the valet, not bothering with the ticket, and sprinted through the automatic doors. The lobby buzzed with controlled chaos. Visitors clutched flowers, doctors moved with purposeful strides, and somewhere a child was crying. Victoria Pierce, he gasped at the reception desk. My wife. She was brought in for emergency surgery. The receptionist's fingers flew across her keyboard. 4th floor surgical wing. Take the elevator on your right. Nathan jabbed the elevator button repeatedly, his expensive watch catching the fluorescent light. He had built an empire from nothing. Pierce Development had transformed Boston's skyline with luxury high-rises and commercial complexes. He could negotiate million-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, but standing in this hospital corridor, he felt utterly powerless. The elevator doors opened on the 4th floor. Nathan stepped out and nearly collided with someone coming around the corner. I'm so sorry, The words died in his throat. When ghosts become real, standing before him was Claire Matthews. 8 years had passed since he last saw her, but time had only refined her beauty. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail. Worry lines creased her forehead. She wore simple jeans and a blue sweater, so different from Victoria's designer wardrobe. But those brown eyes, warm as honey, were exactly as he remembered. Nathan. His name on her lips was barely a whisper. They stood frozen in the corridor as nurses and visitors flowed around them like water around stones. The sounds of the hospital faded into background noise. For a moment, Nathan was 25 again, sitting across from Claire in that tiny coffee shop near campus, planning a future that never came to be. What are you doing here? The question came out harsher than he intended. Owen, she said simply, gesturing toward the pediatric wing behind her. My son. He had an accident at school. They're running tests to make sure there's no concussion. Before Nathan could respond, a small voice called out, Mom, the nurse said I can have ice cream after. A boy appeared in the doorway of room 427. He was small for his age, with messy brown hair and a bandage above his left eyebrow. But it was his eyes that made Nathan's blood run cold. Green eyes, his eyes. The same unusual shade of emerald that Nathan saw every morning in the mirror. The boy looked between them, confusion evident on his face. Mom, who's that? Claire's hand found her son's shoulder, protective and firm. Owen, go back inside. I'll be there in just a minute. But Mom, please, sweetheart. Just 1 minute. Something in her tone made the boy obey. He cast one more curious glance at Nathan before disappearing back into the room. The door clicked shut with a finality that echoed in Nathan's chest. The truth, it changes everything. Is he? Nathan couldn't finish the sentence. Claire met his gaze steadily. Yes. Owen is 8 years old. He loves building things with his hands. He's brilliant at math. And he has your eyes, your smile, your stubborn determination to figure out how things work. The hallway tilted slightly. Nathan reached out to steady himself against the wall. 8 years. Claire, I had no idea. You had every idea, she said, her voice tight with controlled anger. I called you 8 years ago, remember? You were in Chicago closing the Riverside project. I told you I was pregnant. You said we'd talk when you got back. The memory surfaced like a drowning victim coming up for air. That phone call. He had been in the hotel conference room, surrounded by lawyers and investors. Claire's voice had sounded far away, scared. He'd been annoyed at the interruption during the biggest deal of his career. I thought you understood, Nathan said weakly. The money I sent? The check you mailed without a single word? Claire's laugh was bitter. That check that arrived the same week I saw your engagement announcement to Victoria Hughes in the Globe. That money? Nathan had no defense. The timeline was damning. He had met Victoria 3 months after that phone call. She was from old Boston money, connected to everyone who mattered. Their relationship had been practical, beneficial for both their families' business interests. He'd convinced himself it was the mature choice. "Mr. Pierce?" A nurse appeared beside them. "Your wife is out of surgery. She's in recovery. The doctor wants to speak with you." Nathan looked at the nurse, then back at Claire. He was standing at a crossroads, just like 8 years ago. One path led to the wife he'd chosen for all the wrong reasons. The other led to a son he never knew existed. "I need to see him," Nathan said to Claire. "After I check on Victoria, please, don't leave." Claire studied him for a long moment. "Room 427. We'll be here for another hour while they finish the tests." "But Nathan?" She stepped closer, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "That boy in there has lived 8 years without you. He's asked about his father. He's wondered why he wasn't wanted. If you're going to walk through that door, you better be ready to stay." She turned and walked back into Owen's room, leaving Nathan alone in the corridor between his past and his present. Nathan sat in the dimly lit hospital room, watching Victoria sleep. The surgery had been successful. A ruptured ovarian cyst, the doctor explained. Painful, but not life-threatening. She would recover fully within weeks. The monitors beeped steadily, tracking her vital signs with mechanical precision, but Nathan's mind was 3 floors down. In room 427, where a boy with green eyes was probably asking his mother questions. Questions about the stranger in the hallway. Questions Nathan had no right to answer. Victoria stirred, her eyelids fluttering open. Even groggy from anesthesia, she maintained an elegant composure. Her blonde hair spread across the white pillow like spun gold. She had always been beautiful in that untouchable way, like a sculpture in a museum. "Nathan," she murmured. "You came." He took her hand, noting the coolness of her skin. "Of course I came. How do you feel?" "Like I've been hit by a truck." A weak smile crossed her lips. "The doctor said everything went well. Yes, you need to rest now." Nathan squeezed her hand gently. Victoria's perceptive blue eyes studied his face. "Something's wrong. I can see it." "What happened?" Nathan had never been good at lying to her. Their marriage was built on honesty, even if it lacked passion. They were partners in a carefully constructed life. "I ran into someone. From my past, it complicated things." "An old girlfriend?" Victoria asked without jealousy. Their relationship had always been pragmatic rather than romantic. "Yes, and she has a son." Nathan paused, the words heavy on his tongue. "My son, I just found out." The monitors continued their steady beeping. Victoria absorbed this information with surprising calmness. "How old?" 8. She did the math quickly. "Before we met then?" "Yes. I didn't know, Victoria. I swear I didn't know." Victoria closed her eyes briefly, then opened them again. "What are you going to do?" It was such a simple question, yet it contained multitudes. Nathan had built his fortune on decisive action, on knowing exactly what move to make next. But sitting in that hospital room, he felt lost. "I don't know," he admitted. "I need to meet him properly. I need to understand what this means." Morning brings clarity. Nathan never went home that night. He sat in the hospital cafeteria as dawn broke over Boston, nursing terrible coffee and watching early shift nurses grab breakfast before their rounds. He'd sent messages to his assistant canceling his morning meetings. The Chicago investors could wait. The harbor project could wait. Everything could wait. At 7 in the morning, Claire walked into the cafeteria. She spotted him immediately and hesitated before approaching his table. "May I sit?" she asked. Nathan gestured to the empty chair. "How's Owen?" "Cleared to go home. Just a minor concussion. They kept him overnight for observation, but he's fine." Claire wrapped her hands around a cup of tea. "He asked about you. About the man in the hallway? What did you tell him?" "The truth. That you're someone from my past. Someone I needed to talk to." Claire met his eyes directly. "He's a smart boy, Nathan. He notices things. He's already wondering why you have the same eyes." Nathan felt his chest tighten. "What does he know about me?" About his father? Claire took a slow sip of her tea, choosing her words carefully. I've told him that his father wasn't ready to be a parent when he was born, that it had nothing to do with Owen being unlovable or unwanted, that sometimes adults make choices based on fear rather than love. You've been generous, Nathan said quietly. More generous than I deserve. I didn't do it for you, Claire replied, her voice firm but not unkind. I did it for my son. Children internalize rejection. I wasn't going to let him grow up thinking he was the problem. Nathan nodded, swallowing hard against the emotion rising in his throat. Tell me about him, please. I want to know everything. A life in stories. Claire's expression softened as she spoke about Owen. He's curious about everything. Last month, he took apart our toaster to see how it worked. He got it back together with only 2 screws left over. A genuine smile crossed her face. He's obsessed with how buildings are made. When we drive through the city, he points out architectural details, support beams, foundation work. He has notebooks filled with building designs. Pride surged through Nathan unexpectedly. He gets that from me. I know, Claire said. When he draws, he tilts his head the same way you used to when you were concentrating. When he's excited about something, he talks with his hands. When he's thinking hard, he gets this little crease between his eyebrows. Nathan touched his own forehead unconsciously, feeling the familiar furrow. Does he ask about me? All the time. Especially when he sees other kids with their fathers. Claire's voice grew quieter. Last year, his school had a father-son breakfast. Rachel's husband took him. Owen was grateful, but I saw him watching other boys with their dads. The look on his face nearly broke me. The guilt was physical, a weight pressing down on Nathan's chest. I'm so sorry, Claire. For everything. For that phone call? For the check without an explanation? For disappearing? Why did you? Claire asked suddenly, leaning forward. I've spent 8 years trying to understand. We were happy, Nathan. We had plans. Then you got busy with your business, and I understood that. But when I told you about the baby, you just shut down. 3 days later, I got a check for $50,000 and nothing else. Not a call. Not a visit. Nothing. Nathan stared into his cold coffee, seeing his own reflection distorted in the dark liquid. I was terrified. The business was everything to me. It represented escape from the poverty I grew up in. When you told me you were pregnant, all I could think about was my father. Claire's expression shifted slightly. Nathan rarely spoke about his childhood. My father was a construction worker who drank away every paycheck, Nathan continued. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 people. I wore hand-me-downs and worked 2 jobs through high school. I swore I'd never be like him. Never struggle. Never be trapped. He looked up at Claire. When you told me about the baby, I panicked. I thought I'd lose everything I'd worked for. I thought I'd become him. So you chose your empire over your family, Claire said, echoing words from 8 years ago. Nathan admitted. And I've regretted it every single day since. I just didn't know how much I'd lost until yesterday. Victoria's unexpected wisdom. They sat in silence for several minutes, the weight of 8 years pressing between them. Finally, Claire spoke. Your wife. How is she? Recovering well? I told her about Owen last night. Claire's eyebrows rose. And she was surprisingly understanding. Our marriage isn't what people think it is. Nathan chose his words carefully. We respect each other. We're partners, but we're not in love. We never have been. Why did you marry her then? Because she represented everything I thought I wanted. Stability, status, a life completely opposite from the chaos of my childhood. Nathan laughed bitterly. I thought I was being smart, mature, making the right choice. Now I realize I've been running from the wrong things. I thought poverty was the enemy, but loneliness is worse. Regret is worse. Missing 8 years of my son's life is worse. Claire studied him carefully, as if trying to determine whether his remorse was genuine. If I let you meet Owen properly, really meet him, you can't treat this like one of your business ventures. You can't schedule him between meetings. You can't show up when it's convenient and disappear when it's not. I understand. Do you? Claire's voice sharpened. Because Owen's heart is involved now. If you walk into his life and then walk back out, it will damage him in ways that might never heal. I won't allow that. Won't disappoint him, Nathan said firmly. Or you. Not again. Claire reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. She scrolled through photos, then turned the screen toward Nathan. This is Owen on his first day of school. This is him at his science fair. This is him building a treehouse in Rachel's backyard. This is the life you missed. Nathan looked at each photo, his throat tight. In every image, Owen was smiling, sometimes gap-toothed, sometimes serious, always unmistakably his son. He looks happy. He is happy, Claire confirmed. We have a good life. It's not fancy, but it's full of love. That's what you need to understand, Nathan. If you come into this, you're entering our world, not the other way around. When can I meet him? Nathan asked. Properly, I mean. As his father, Claire considered this. I need time to prepare him, to explain who you really are. This weekend, Saturday afternoon at Boston Common. 2:00 by the Frog Pond. Wear normal clothes, not a $3,000 suit. Bring nothing except yourself. Nathan nodded, committing every detail to memory. Thank you, Claire. For this chance, I promise I won't waste it. As Claire stood to leave, she paused. Nathan, he's wanted to meet you his whole life. Don't break his heart. It's the one thing I'll never forgive. She walked away, leaving Nathan alone with his thoughts and the weight of a second chance he wasn't sure he deserved. Saturday felt impossibly far away. Nathan moved through the week like a man in a dream, his mind constantly drifting to the upcoming meeting. He attended board meetings without really hearing the discussions. He signed documents his assistant placed before him. He smiled at appropriate times during business dinners. But his thoughts were always elsewhere. 3 days away, 2 days away, 1 day away. Victoria came home from the hospital on Wednesday. They sat together in their sprawling penthouse overlooking Boston Harbor, the city lights twinkling like earthbound stars. She recovered on the leather sofa, while Nathan paced the floor-to-ceiling windows. You're going to wear a hole in the marble, Victoria observed, sipping herbal tea. I don't know how to be a father, Nathan admitted, turning to face her. I don't know what to say to him. What if I mess this up? Victoria set down her cup, studying her husband with an expression he couldn't quite read. Nathan, we need to talk about us. About our marriage. His stomach dropped. Victoria, I know this is complicated, but I can't ignore that I have a son. I'm not asking you to. She patted the sofa beside her. Sit down, please. Nathan sat, confused by her calm demeanor. Victoria had always been composed, but this was different. There was a peace in her expression he'd never seen before. We've been married for 5 years, Victoria began. In that time, we've been excellent business partners. We've hosted successful charity galas. We've looked perfect in every photograph. But Nathan, have you ever noticed we've never talked about having children? He hadn't thought about it, but she was right. The subject had never come up. I've known for a long time that we married for the wrong reasons, Victoria continued. You wanted stability and status. I wanted to escape my family's expectations. We gave each other what we needed, but we never gave each other love. Victoria? She held up a hand. Let me finish. When you told me about Owen, I felt relief. Not anger, not jealousy. Relief, because it means you have something real, something that matters more than appearances and business deals. That little boy deserves to have his father, and you deserve to have your son. Nathan stared at her, speechless. What are you saying? I'm saying our marriage has run its course. We've been holding each other back from finding real happiness. You need to be free to build a relationship with your son, and I need to be free to find something more than this beautiful, empty life we've constructed. Tears pricked Nathan's eyes. I never wanted to hurt you. You haven't, Victoria assured him. We've been honest with each other from the start. We're just finally being honest about the end. She squeezed his hand gently. Go meet your son tomorrow. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about what people will think. Just be his father. Saturday at the Frog Pond, Nathan arrived at Boston Common 30 minutes early. He'd chosen simple jeans, a gray sweater, and sneakers. No watch that cost more than a car. No designer labels. Just a man hoping to meet his son. The park bustled with weekend activity. Families spread picnic blankets on the grass. Dogs chased frisbees. Street musicians played for passing crowds. Nathan found a bench near the frog pond and waited, his heart hammering against his ribs. At exactly 2 o'clock he saw them. Claire walked hand in hand with Owen, who wore a red jacket and carried a baseball glove. The boy's eyes scanned the park with bright curiosity, taking in everything around him. Nathan stood as they approached. Owen looked up at him with those familiar green eyes, recognition flickering across his young face. "Hi," Owen said, tilting his head slightly. "You're the man from the hospital." "I am," Nathan replied, his voice catching. "My name is Nathan." Claire knelt beside her son. "Owen, remember how I told you that your father wanted to meet you? This is him. Nathan is your dad." Owen's eyes widened. He looked at Nathan with a mixture of curiosity, confusion, and something that might have been hope. "You're really my dad?" "Yes," Nathan said, kneeling to meet Owen at eye level. "I really am. Mom said you build buildings." "Big ones." "I do," Nathan confirmed. "I design towers and office buildings and apartment complexes. But that's just my job. Right now I want to know about you. What do you like to build?" Owen's face lit up immediately. "Everything. I made a bridge out of popsicle sticks that held 20 books. And I built a fort in my room with boxes and tape. And I'm designing a tree house with 3 levels and a rope ladder." Pride swelled in Nathan's chest. "That sounds incredible. Do you have drawings of your treehouse design? Home? I have a whole notebook." Owen bounced slightly on his toes. "Do you want to see them sometime?" More than anything, Nathan said honestly, learning to catch. Claire gestured to the baseball glove Owen carried. "Owen thought you might want to play catch. If you have time." "I have all the time in the world," Nathan replied. Though he couldn't remember the last time he'd thrown a baseball, they found an open area of grass. Claire settled on a nearby bench, watching but giving them space. Owen tossed Nathan the glove and pulled out a slightly scuffed baseball from his jacket pocket. "Ready?" Owen called out, positioning himself about 15 feet away. "Ready," Nathan replied, though his hands felt clumsy in the borrowed glove. Owen threw the ball. It sailed through the air in a gentle arc. Nathan caught it awkwardly, the impact stinging his palm through the leather. "Good catch," Owen encouraged. "Now throw it back." Nathan threw. The ball went wide. Owen had to run several steps to catch it, but he snagged it with practiced ease. "Almost." Owen laughed. "Try aiming a little lower." They fell into a rhythm. Throw, catch, throw, catch. With each toss, Nathan felt some of the tension leave his shoulders. This was simple. This was real. No boardrooms or negotiations or carefully worded contracts. Just a father and son throwing a baseball on a sunny afternoon. "Mom says you didn't know about me," Owen said suddenly. His throw perfectly straight, Nathan caught it, grateful for the moment to collect his thoughts before responding. "That's true. I made some mistakes a long time ago. Big ones. If I had known about you, I would have been there from the start." Owen considered this, catching Nathan's return throw easily. "What kind of mistakes?" "I was scared of being a father. I thought I wasn't ready. So I made choices that hurt your mom, and without knowing it, hurt you too." Nathan threw again, watching his son move fluidly to catch the ball. "I'm sorry for that, Owen. More sorry than I can explain." "My friend Tyler says everyone makes mistakes," Owen offered. "He says sorry is important, but fixing it is more important."
Nathan
felt his throat tighten. "Your friend Tyler is very smart. You're right. I need to fix this." "How?" Owen asked with the directness only children possess. "By being here. By showing up. By being your dad if you'll let me." Nathan caught Owen's throw, this one coming in fast and true. "I know I missed a lot. Your first steps, your first day of school, your first baseball game. I can't get those back. But I can be here for everything going forward." Owen walked closer, closing the distance between them. "Do you want to be my dad?" Like, really want to? Nathan knelt down, setting aside the glove. He looked directly into his son's eyes, seeing his own features reflected back. More than I've ever wanted anything in my entire life? Even more than building tall buildings? Even more than that. Owen studied him for a long moment, his expression serious beyond his years. Then, slowly, a smile spread across his face. Okay, you can be my dad, but you have to teach me how to build real buildings. And you have to come to my birthday party next month. And you have to promise not to leave again. Promise, Nathan said, his voice breaking. I absolutely promise. A new foundation. They played catch for another 20 minutes before Owen announced he was thirsty. The three of them walked to a nearby vendor, Nathan buying lemonade and pretzels. They sat together on the grass. Owen between Nathan and Claire, chattering about his upcoming science project on renewable energy. My teacher says solar panels are the future, Owen explained, his hands gesturing animatedly. I want to design a house that makes its own electricity. Do you think that's possible? Not only possible, Nathan replied, but necessary. The world needs people like you thinking about these problems. Claire watched them interact, her expression unreadable. When Owen ran off to throw away their trash, she turned to Nathan. He likes you, she said softly. I like him too. He's amazing, Claire. You've done an incredible job raising him. We're not done yet, Claire reminded him. This was one afternoon. Being a father means showing up for the hard days too. The sick days, the bad report cards, the teenage years when he might hate you. I know, Nathan said. And I'll be there for all of it. I spoke with Victoria. We're separating. It's amicable. We both knew our marriage wasn't built on the right foundation. Claire's eyebrows rose. Nathan, I didn't ask you to leave your wife. You didn't have to. I should have never married her in the first place. I married the idea of stability, not the person. That's not fair to anyone. He watched Owen return, skipping slightly as he walked. I want to do this right, Claire. Not just with Owen, but with you too. I'm not asking for us to get back together. I know I destroyed that chance. But I want us to be real partners in raising him. I want to be involved in decisions, in daily life, in everything. That's going to take time, Claire said carefully. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight. I have time now, Nathan replied. I'm restructuring my priorities. My brother James is taking over day-to-day operations of the company. I'm stepping back to focus on what actually matters. Before Claire could respond, Owen bounded back to them. Can we come back next Saturday? This was fun. Nathan looked at Claire, who nodded slowly. Next Saturday, she confirmed. Same time, same place. 6 months forward, the seasons changed from autumn to winter. Nathan kept his promise. Every Saturday at Boston Common, rain or shine. Sometimes they played catch. Sometimes they flew kites. Sometimes they just walked and talked. Owen's hands small and trusting in his father's grip. Nathan attended Owen's science fair, watching with pride as his son explained his solar-powered model house to the judges. He was there when Owen got sick with flu, bringing soup and comic books. He showed up for parent-teacher conferences. Sitting beside Claire and hearing about Owen's excellent progress in mathematics and creative thinking, on Owen's 9th birthday, Nathan arrived early to help set up the party. No expensive gifts or over-the-top gestures, just a father assembling tables and hanging decorations alongside the mother, who had done this alone for 8 years. As the party wound down and the last guests departed, Owen tugged on Nathan's sleeve. Dad, can I show you something? The word dad still made Nathan's heart skip. Of course. Owen led him to his room and pulled out a notebook. Remember I told you about my treehouse design? I've been working on it. Look, pages were filled with detailed drawings, measurements, calculations. Nathan flipped through them, genuinely impressed by the thought and planning his son had put into the project. This is professional-level work. Owen, these drawings are excellent. I thought maybe, Owen said hesitantly, maybe we could build it together. You and me. Nathan pulled his son into a hug, this gesture now natural and comfortable after months of practice. I would love nothing more. We'll start next weekend. From the doorway, Claire watched them, her eyes glistening. Rachel, standing beside her, whispered, "He really changed." "People can," Claire replied softly, "when they want too badly enough." The treehouse that built a family over the following months. Nathan and Owen built the treehouse together. Every weekend they worked side by side. Nathan teaching Owen how to measure twice and cut once, how to ensure structural integrity, how to problem solve when something didn't fit quite right. Claire often brought them lunch. Sitting on the grass below and watching her son work alongside his father, their heads bent together over blueprints, their laughter carrying on the breeze. One evening, as the sun set behind the completed treehouse, Owen climbed up into his creation. Nathan followed, settling beside his son on the small platform they'd built together. "It's perfect," Owen declared, looking out over the yard. "Thanks for helping me build it, Dad." "Thank you for letting me," Nathan replied. "You know, I spent years building towers that reach into the sky. But this," he gestured around the simple treehouse, "this is the most important thing I've ever built." "Because we built it together?" Owen asked. "Exactly." Nathan put his arm around his son's shoulders. "The best things in life are always built together. They take time, patience, and showing up every single day to do the work." Owen leaned against his father. "I'm glad you showed up." "Me too, son." "Me too." As stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Nathan realized he'd finally built something that mattered. Not an empire of glass and steel, but something far more valuable. A relationship, family, a second chance. And this time, he wasn't going to waste it. The end.